weekend of Premier League football, game week 17. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff as well. If you've been locked in on the social medias, you know what time it is. Yes, it is giveaway time. We are doing a giveaway. We are giving away some boots. We are giving away a pair of FA Cup tickets. How'd you get involved? All you got to do is follow us on all our social media channels for a pair of boots. If you want that pair of FA Cup tickets, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Do not miss out. Chance for you to get a brand new pair of boots and some FA Cup tickets. Yes, again, all you got to do is follow us on all the social media channels for a pair of football boots and subscribe to the channel for them FA Cup tickets. Yes, let's kick into it straight away now, because this ain't just any weekend. This is AFCON. The AFCON starts now. AFCON kicks off on Sunday, which means a lot of the Premier League teams are going to lose some key players. So we're going to see a shift with Mo Salah gone, for Liverpool. Salah, there's a situation there for Liverpool and many other players that's going to go for even the likes of Fulham. I don't think a lot Spurs got kudos going. Man United with Ahmad and Diallo. Bournemouth with Semenyo. So, as you can see, there's going to be a bit of a dynamic shift for the next couple of weeks. We're going to see how the team holds out. This week, we're going to be previewing Newcastle versus Chelsea. Big test at the St. James's Stadium for Chelsea. Then we've got Spurs hosting Liverpool without the Egyptian King. And yes, we've got Manchester United going to Villa. Big week for Amarin and his men. And let's not forget Everton hosting Newcastle as well. And yes, on the Next Generation Baller Show, we like to give a shout out to the young G. So we're going to be looking at all the young ballers that you guys should be looking out for. And let's kick off. Yes, first game we're going to talk about is Newcastle welcoming Chelsea to the tune. Chelsea, I think Chelsea, they don't really have to worry about the AFCON problem. This show, I'm going to try and dissect the AFCON and how it's going to affect loads of teams, and that's going to be the main premise of what I'm talking about today. But when I think about it with Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea, if I'm wrong, I don't think Chelsea are going to be missing any players. Obviously, Jackson was one of their players who they loaned out to Bayern Munich. He's with Senegal, but Chelsea don't have to worry about that. And they sold Christopher Nkunku to loan or to AC Milan. So they're two players that if there wasn't a Chelsea squad now, maybe they might have to miss them. But they do still have a few injury problems. But for Chelsea, no issues there in regards to AFCON. Newcastle was well. We got Wissa, their striker, who actually scored midweek for them as they went to the semi-finals of the League Cup. He's going to be a big blow for them. Just came back from injury. Looking to see like he's picking up some fitness and picking up some form. But then again, it could work out for them considering he's going to get guaranteed game time with Congo. So they could work out hand in hand. But these are two teams that are fighting for the top 4 spot. Both teams are going to go into this game wanting to win this game. We've seen a bit of we've seen a bit of a conundrum, a little story building up maybe. This week we saw Enzo Maresca talking about how he felt maybe the board at Chelsea didn't really quite have faith in him. And everyone's talking about that. Let us know your thoughts on that, because for me, when you start talking about the board in the media aspect, I think Simon Jones mentioned this on Talk Sport. I think that's when you start getting yourself in some sticky situation. If I'm being quite honest with you, Carl. These people own the football club, so from the time you're yapping your mouth there in the media press conferences, you must be able to a little backlash. We're not quite sure who it is directed at, because a lot of Chelsea fans think Todd Bowley is the only owner of the club, but Chelsea's run by a consortium where they have, I think, at least 10 different people who are not equal shares, but have a say when it comes to situations that happen at the club entirely. So who knows who's talking to? And then adding on to from that story, we saw it come out, I think it's today, earlier on today, late last night, Fabrizio Romano, I think it came up by David Ornstein as well, that apparently Enzo is on a shortlist for Chelsea, Manchester City, if they decide to not get rid of Pep Guardiola, if he decides to move on, because who in their right mind is going to get rid of Pep Guardiola? But for me, That one there's looking a bit shaky. I don't really know what's going on there, because for me, understanding of how agents are sometimes they work and how managers and players sometimes initiate things. For me, it seems a bit of a move where the agent's probably putting a story out there where Enzo's probably been saying, brother, like, your days are numbered, because even though he's been having decent results, any position where you are as a manager at a club, the moment you start directing your frustrations, we saw it with Nuno. He's a perfect example with his situation at Forest. He started saying some stuff in the media press conferences. He wasn't there for too long and he was out the door. Could Enzo be going down that same road? Could he be going down that same channel, trying to insinuate something there? It's going to be an interesting one with how that one builds up. But my thoughts on that post going out by Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein of the like, I feel like it's just one of them things where the agent is putting it out there to other clubs that, listen, there may be a situation here. Look, Man City are looking at him. You've seen what he's done at Chelsea. Like, start talking. If you're thinking of changing your manager, Maresca might be your option. So, going to be an interesting one to see how that develops. Newcastle versus Chelsea. This has been an interesting game. In the last 5 games, it's been kind of tight. Newcastle winning 1, 2 draws, with Chelsea winning 2 of them. So it's a game in the last few years or so. You wouldn't say any team has really got better over the other team. When you talk about form as it currently stands, Newcastle have won their last 3 games. Chelsea winning, they won and they draw the last game. Chelsea winning their last 2 games. So it's going to be interesting conundrum. Like I said, with the likes of Wissa going for Newcastle, Whittemore has had a good start to the season. I did speak about Eddie Howe, his position at Newcastle. Is the League Cup going to be enough for him? Does he need to push on? He is doing well in the Champions League, but does he really need to push on in the Premier League now to go on and have a big impact in this game? And I think Newcastle will definitely be a game that Newcastle will be a game that Chelsea will be a game that Newcastle feel that they can get chances against. And I definitely feel it's going to be an open game. We see with Chelsea midweek when they played against Cardiff, League One team, struggled in the first half, managed to get the victory in the second half. But again, the same thing I say about Chelsea, consistency. And I feel like with Chelsea's backline, there's always an opportunity there to get a chance. And I feel with Newcastle, how they are and the form that they are currently in right now, with it being very effective with efficient pressing in the final third, which means that they're very relentless in their press. And Chelsea, with their centre-backs being quite nervous on the ball, it could be an element of the game that I expect Everton to go and Newcastle to go and exploit. So it's going to be an interesting game. Chelsea, they are vulnerable in the transition. They've conceded quite a few goals away from home, averaging 1.2 per 90 away from home. So like I said, there are frailties in that Chelsea defence when it comes to leaking goals. Can Newcastle exploit that? Whittemore's been good for them this season. Wissa obviously won't be there. Under 21 player that's been smashing it for them this season. I spoke about him on my socials this week. Lewis Smiley has been really, really stepping up for Newcastle this season. Played at right back in the midweek. Been very solid for them in midfield. Had a serious injury. I think it was towards the end of last season. Didn't start the season. Has come back now. Pass completion of 91.2. His progressive runs, we're talking about 4.5 progressive runs per game. So he really picks up the ball. Deep line midfielder, picking up, driving Newcastle up that field, giving them great energy. And he wins more than half of his defensive duels with 62% of them won. For a 19-year-old to be putting in performances like this is very, 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 very pleasing and very, very good to see. And I feel like he's kind of in a bubble right now. It's kind of in his purple patch, I would say. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes on to do something special. Chelsea's young boy is Stavio. Been kind of slowing it down in the last couple of games. Obviously, I spoke about consistency when it comes to Chelsea, and when you got young players with the likes of Stavio, we've seen the amazing talent that he has. But it would be, I wouldn't say foolish, it would be naive to think that he's going to do this every game. He's going to go through patches where he's going to be low on form. I feel like his fitness is a big part of it. His body's still developing to play in one of the best leagues in the world. Perfect example, Cristiano Ronaldo. If you look at his physical transition from when he started at Manchester United and how he ended Manchester United. That is the basic example when it comes to the physical element of how you need to train your body and make your body ready for this brutal and competitive league. So for Estavio, gotta give the kid time. Gotta give the kid time. Really, really, really great dribbler. As you can see, averages 8.1 dribbles a game. He's in the league's top 5 dribblers. So we see the talent. The talent is there. His assist game has not really been up there, but he does produce key passes with 1.9 key passes per 90. The Brazilian Jewel, who joined in the summer, Chelsea definitely need him to start picking up some form. But like I said, Chelsea shouldn't expect him to be actually a mainstay in that team. My prediction for that game, I do think it's going to be a tight game, and I expect Chelsea. No, Chelsea. Actually, to be honest, I expect to draw. If I'm being honest, big one. Next one, we're going to talk about Frank Ball versus Slot Ball. Yes, that is Spurs versus Liverpool. And I think this game in the last couple of years has been a game, been quite interesting. Been a controversy with the goal that shouldn't have been a goal. I think it was Liverpool who got that victory that took them on to take that lead and ended up winning the title. And I feel like for Liverpool in the form that they're in now, starting to pick up a little bit of form. We saw the situation with Mo Salah and Slot. Yes, Mo Salah will be leaving to go and play for Ipswich for Egypt in the African Cup of Nations in Morocco. So that conundrum there will be quiet for a bit, but I don't think it will be that quiet because now the pressure is going to be on Liverpool and Slot to pick up these victories with Salah out. And hey, could this be what he really wanted anyway? Because obviously he kicked Salah out. He wasn't happy with him being there in the first place. Now without Salah actually being there in the team, it gives him a chance to go on and put his philosophy in, if that is the case. Last 5 games in this game, Liverpool have been the better team in this game, winning 3. There's been 1 draw with Spurs only picking up 1 victory. There's always goals galore in this game. There's average 3.8 goals a game. So we're talking about 4 goals a game in the last 5 games that these guys play. So expect loads and loads of goals in this game. For Spurs, we've been speaking about their form recently. It's just a lot of inconsistencies. And I feel inconsistency has been part of Spurs' DNA, you might say, caused a lot of frustrations in the club for many years. They wanted to win a major trophy. They managed to do that under Ange, but we saw the inconsistency that they had in the league that ended up being enough for the fans, for the owners, sorry. They ended up getting sacked. Daniel Levy, some may say his inconsistencies in terms of the overall success at the club. We saw his success off the field. It didn't quite marry up on the field. I think we've only won major trophy. He left the club. They got in a new manager. They seem to be having a new board ownership, but it seems to be same old Tottenham. Only 2 wins in their last 5 games with 2 defeats and a draw. And for Thomas Frank, with these Tottenham fans, let's be quite honest, they're brutal. Like they're brutal. They know how they want the team to play. I think the DNA that they have in the club, and especially of that ferocity. When we talk about DNA, I see Darren Bent spoke about this. Darren Bent on TalkSport and Andy Goldstein, and they spoke about how philosophies. When they talk about philosophies and how a team plays, it becomes a myth. And hearing from Darren Bent, it kind of made sense. That it's like we've seen loads of teams win with many same clubs win with different formations. Clubs have to understand, like, things change. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the Sir Alex way is the Sir Alex way. No one's going to be able to replicate. The Pep Guardiola way is the Pep Guardiola way. The Jose Mourinho way is the Jose Mourinho way. Whatever formation, whether it's a 4-4-2, 3 at the back, 1 up front, whatever formation it was, and however that manager made it a success, that's where it is, and that's what the club and maybe fans need to adopt to. I think all this love affair of what previous managers done for the club to gain success at that time, that need and that want to replicate it over and over again and get a manager that can do the exact same thing. I think that pony's kind to die down now. When we look at over the course of the Premier League and we dissect different teams, we can see that it's not the same philosophy that actually wins it. We can clear current dynamic with Slot and Klopp. Yes, he went and won the league last season, but we all know that was Klopp's team. He started to do some changes, some tweaks, got some new players. It's not really quite working out. He's going to have to change it. He's going to have to implement what he really wants to do. It's going to take time. So these are the things that maybe fans have to start taking into serious consideration, because all this changing of managers and expecting quick and fast results ain't going to be something that is going to be sustainable, as you can say, the big word we now use in football. Tight game, both teams. Like, I feel with Spurs, that at a moment where if they was to play well and have a decent performance, you wouldn't be surprised. But if they was to have a poor performance as well, you wouldn't be surprised. Same thing goes for Liverpool. That being the history of the game, I do expect high-scoring game, but how the teams are with the quality that Liverpool have got, and I feel with the statement that they want to make with Mo Salah leaving, I would say Liverpool go and win this game 2-1. Young generation player we need to look out for is Mikey Moore, who's been getting some minutes recently for Spurs, averaging 2.4 shots a game, so more than over 50% dribble success rate. Young player that Spurs have been, we've seen him a couple of times over the course of years playing in some FA Cup games and featuring here and there. We've seen Spurs starting to integrate a lot of their young players more, with the likes of Bogle in their really young talent, the likes of Sarr. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mikey Moore develops for Spurs. Spurs are going to be without, again, when we talk about the African Cup of Nations, they're going to be without Basuma. Well, I don't even think he got called up. I know he had an issue, but I don't know if he's got called up. They're going to be without Sarr, also two key players in their midfield. I don't think Basuma has been playing that much this season, but Sarr has definitely been a big impact for them. And yes, we all know Mo Salah is not going to be available for Liverpool. So moving on then to my boys, Manchester United. We visit Aston Villa, Emirates boys, and big game, always a big game for Manchester United. Disappointing performance overall against Bournemouth. There was such exciting elements, so much exciting elements. I think 4 goals scored in the last 2 games. I think Manchester United have scored the most. I think we scored the most goals in the league. Correct me if I'm wrong. The most goals or the second most goals in the league, Man United have created, but definitely they're top 1 or top 2. So that's an interesting stat. In the summer, the club said we wanted more goals. We've got more goals. We can now see the clear issue in the team. Defensively, the young players, Lenny Euro and Haven, I'm going to make it clear. These are going to be 2, in the next 3 to 4 years, these are going to be one of the best defenders in Europe, if not the world. But currently, right now, the inconsistency that I always talk about with these young players is clear what you've seen there, and it makes them vulnerable. And I think Manchester United have to manage this very well, very well, if they want these players to go and reach their potential. Because these type of situations, these type of scenarios, like that game was clear to see that them two was the main problem. We saw Haven and his mistake that he made for that goal when he was shifting too far back and giving the space too much for Semenyo to go and score. And these type of situations when their 2 points are dropped, and they could be vital 2 points when it comes to the end of the season, can either make or break a player, and hopefully makes the likes of Haven. We've seen Euro get substituted a lot during games, not be quite confident. These are not elements that I would look and say these players, young players, are not going to make it. I say they've already made it, but reached their ceiling, as we would say. But it's definitely a concern when it comes to their development, because you want to see how they react to it. And at the same time, every player is different. So it's also important that Manchester United manage the player, don't put them in that situation if it's not necessarily needed to. We know Man United are going to be without the likes of Mbeumo and Ahmad, Amarin has come out in a press conference and spoke about how he expects Manchester United he's going to play a bit differently. We did expect Man United to play a 4-3-3 against Bournemouth. He stuck with the same thing that worked against Wolves. And for majority of the game, it really did work well. And I think if we did have the likes of Maguire and De Ligt in that game, that would have been a comfortable victory for Manchester United. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does. Like I said, Man United have been rumored to playing 4-4-3. People are begging and screaming to see Bruno play in a higher position. Some people are saying he's wasted it in that 8 position. For me, I think it's Bruno's best position. I think you get the best of both worlds with Bruno there. I've gone on about it many times. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I do think it will have an effect on Manchester United. We've seen Sesko come back, who does look quite a lot fitter. When he did come, I thought it was quite slow, quite sluggish. I didn't know if that was his physique, and he actually wasn't ready for the speed of the league. But watching him come on against Bournemouth, I saw some speed there, saw some strength, and I saw him getting about the pitch a lot more quicker. So if he can add that into his game and be more consistent, adding them type of performances, it's definitely going to be big benefit for Manchester United moving forward. But obviously missing the likes of Ahmad and in Bremo. In the last 5 games, Manchester United have seemed to get the better over Aston Villa. It's been a difficult. They're not easy games, but it's always been difficult for Man United when they play against Aston Villa. But for somehow they're one of them teams that we always manage to seem to get a victory against, even though when we've been in bad form. Aston Villa flying right now in the league. I think they're sitting third. Some are saying that they potentially in a title race, squad depth, injuries, all sorts, everything combined. European football. I necessarily wouldn't. Mathematically, you would have to say yes. Logically, you would have to say no when it comes to Aston Villa being in the title race. But hey, this game here, a rival Manchester United, another one of the European rivals, a team that's looking to get into that European top 4 position. If they can get some consistency, maybe challenge them and be in a title race. Considering Manchester United's form, I think they've only managed 2 defeats in the last 10 games. There's been a lot of draws in there as well. So for Man United, they see that there's spirit there, but at the same time, you can see there's frailties there. Aston Villa on a good run of form, only losing 1 of their last 5 games. Taking that all into account with Manchester United and how they're playing forward, I can't really judge on that because, as I said, we're going to see Ahmad and Bremo go. So I don't know how Man United are going to play, to be fair. Even when they're here, you can't really tell how they're going to play. So with them going, it's going to be interesting to see how they play, how they move. Talking about the likes of Kobe Mainoo, young player that I picked out for us to watch because I feel like now's his time. We saw him come against Bournemouth. And for me, like, I totally understand why everyone wants Mainoo to play. That little, I don't know how, I think it was like 30 minutes he played. You can just see the touches, the back heels, the little in and outs, the 2 feet. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Like, the talent is absolutely there. But I totally understand why Man United are doing this. I've explained this about Kobe Mainoo and development of young players. It was important that Manchester United take their time with Kobe. They don't overload him with games. Respect his body, allow his body to develop. And I do think, as hard as it is for Kobe, for any young player, you do want to play football with the talent that he has. And I feel like he knows his talent. I think he knows how good he is. And that probably burns him a bit more not playing in the team. But I feel like he has that understanding of that. He knows that he needs to develop. And I feel he's a Manchester United fan, loves the club, and I think he understands that the club want the best for him. And I do think his brother coming out wearing a silly t-shirt, standing on the side, talking about free Kobe, doesn't help his case in any way, shape, or form. I thought that was really stupid. But Kobe seems like a very smart guy. I do think he won't let silly things like that affect him. But yeah, I feel like he's going to be a key player for Manchester United now in this period with the missing Ahmad and Mboma. I do think he's going to be a key part for Man United moving forward in this period. AFCON period. My prediction for the game, I have to go with my boys. I'll say 1-0 Man United. 1-0. 1-0, they're going to leak a goal. 2-1. 2-1, 2-1, buddy. Moving on swiftly. Everton versus Arsenal. Big game, difficult game for Arsenal. The table is starting to formulate. The hyenas are starting to creep, and for Arsenal, the pressure is starting to mount up. Last 5 games, Arsenal have got the better of Everton with 4 victories, and Everton getting the 1. But with Everton and David Moyes this season, they haven't been no suckers. They've really stepped up this season. I know they've been struggling to score goals. They're looking for that prolific striker, but David Moyes has made them very hard to beat. Arsenal lose and they lose the top spot. Interesting. This is going to be a big period for Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are losing any players to AFCON. Any players I think that has any big effect for them for AFCON. Oh, they obviously, Thomas Partey don't play for them no more. But for Arsenal, big period. Big period. Crunch time. With them dropping a few points. The performance against Wolves last week, with Wolves scoring 3 goals and Arsenal winning the game, the frailties are there. But we've seen teams, Sir Alex teams, go through a period where they're not playing well and they're winning games, and people say that is signs of champions. With Arsenal, though, I just can't see it. I'm sorry, I just can't see it with the history of the club and how the fans are. I just don't think the quality is right there. I feel like they've signed good players. But we say this when we look at this Arsenal team and we look at title teams, they're not as scary. They're not scary. Like, Gaio's not that guy. He's not the striker like a Haaland. Like Saka, he's a good winger, but he's not a Lamine Yamal. Like, do you know what I mean? He's not special. Like, when you look at the Arsenal team, you're struggling to find that special player that's going to take them over the line and carry them to that glory. Declan Rice, very good midfielder. Very, very good. Probably one of the best in the Premier League. But still, I don't think he has that edge that I'm going to carry the game. I'm going to win for the game for Arsenal week in, week out. And I feel like that's what you need. Saka was potentially supposed to be that player for him. How he's performing right now, I can't really see that in him. I've seen a more consistency. I'm seeing him creating chances and seeing it have an effect on the team. But I'm just not seeing that magic spark. I'm just not seeing that something different for Arsenal fans. Let me know what you guys think. You guys might think something completely different to me. Do you think Arsenal are in a perfect position? Do you think that Arteta has been preparing Arsenal well? Do you think that they're just having this period now, saving their second win for the second half of the season? Let us know what you think. For me, like I said, I just can't see it. Arsenal defensively been absolutely outstanding. They got one of the best duel ratios in the league. I think it's 64%, top in the league. Defensively hasn't been a problem, and we saw them go through that period where they didn't concede goals. But like I said, when it comes to that attack, it just doesn't really cut it for me. And with Everton, with Manchester United, I think Manchester United has now got the most set pieces in the league's goals. I think Everton as well have got a decent amount of goals and set pieces. Everyone's starting to, I think, find Arsenal out having their little gems. So it's going to be a difficult one for Arsenal to work out. This game is definitely going to be a big indicator to see how they're going to manage this pressure over the second course of the season, because the pressure is going to be there every week now. Every game is a big game. Every game is a final for Arsenal. The moment they slip off the top spot, the pressure is going to mount even more. So we see how they handle it. We see if the squad is actually the squad that it was touted to be in the summer when they spent all this money. Young players to look out for. We've got Ethan Nwaneri, Arsenal. He's been getting a few minutes recently. There has been some rumours. Manchester United apparently circling his situation with him not getting as much minutes for Arsenal for now. I do maybe feel that's probably a bargaining chip that he may be using for a new contract. They said, "Come on, you Gunners." What's your thoughts on Ethan Nwaneri? Do you think that this is just a play from him to get a new contract? Do you think he deserves more minutes? Do you think Arsenal are doing the right thing? by being patient with him. For me, I think Arsenal are doing the right thing, being patient, I do think he'll. I do think he. I don't think he'll end up staying at Arsenal. I mean, leaving Arsenal. I do think he'll end up playing more, and I think he signed a contract. I think he signed a scholar. Sorry, I don't. He signed a scholar recently, so I think he'll be looking to bump that up with a professional contract and making sure that he's getting what he is paid for. What do I think is going to happen in this game? If I'm being honest, I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say a draw in this game, and a draw is not good for Arsenal, if I'm being honest. I feel like a draw, what is that? That puts City back in the position to go and end up, I think they'll end up being level 1 points with Arsenal if they go and win that game. So it's going to be difficult for Arsenal. It's going to be difficult for Arsenal over these next couple periods of the game. If they don't pick it up, I think they've learned from the AFCON situation. I think they've got a lot of Africa players in their team, so they don't have to worry about that situation this season. But if they don't start getting consistent wins over the next 3 games, teams are going to catch them. It's going to be a lot tighter in there. We can see in the table, I think there's between 8 or 9 points between them and 7th. So 8 points, we've seen that many times in the league. My prediction for the game, like I said, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. We're going to look out for Ethan Nwaneri. And Everton will be missing Guy. We see him had that incident with, who was it? Is it Keane? Or Towarski? One of them. But they ended up squashing it anyway. But yeah, guys, that is it for this weekend. Obviously, we've got all the other small games. We're going to wrap that up and we'll talk about that over into the TikTok. So don't forget to follow us on social media, guys. And again, before we end the show, don't forget giveaway time. Yeah, giveaway. Don't miss out. Yeah, go follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to us if you want a pair of football boots or you want a pair of FA Cup tickets. You can win both. Just make sure you follow us on social medias. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel and we'll be announcing a winner. Let us know your thoughts on the games. Let us know how you think AFCON is going to affect these teams. Do you think it's going to have a big impact? Who do you think is going to be making the moves in the January transfer window? We can see how long we got. I think it's like 10 days? 12 days or something like that. 12 days to the January transfer window starts opening, so clubs are talking to players now. Make sure you look out for us on the social media channels. We'll be giving you guys all the latest information on all the young ballers and clubs that are rumored to be signing them, and we'll be seeing who's going where and who's staying. And we're also going to be looking out for the AFCON as well, looking at some young gems, see if you can see any talents that clubs in Europe are looking for out in the AFCON. Don't think much movement will happen in the January transfer window. I did think that, but at the same time, I think there will be. I think there will be just because of how tight the league is, how important European football is to a lot of teams. But then again, and also as well, the change to the PSR. There's changes coming into PSR next season where clubs will have a lot more ground to spend a lot more money. So will clubs use that now in the January transfer window, or will they bet their hedges and save what they got and wait till the summer? It's going to be interesting to see. Me personally, I do think we're going to see a lot of movement just because of how tight the league is, and it's World Cup year as well. AFCON, watch out for keeper Holders. Who does he play for? I don't know. What's his name? Howlers. What country does Howlers play for? African Cup of Nations. Watch out for Howlers. What nation? What country does he play for? I'll look out for him. And another thing I was want to as well, guys. It's World Cup here, as well as African Cup of Nations. It's also World Cup here. Hey, that's actually mad, though. So wait, I just deeped it. So these players are going to play. The African players are going to play 2 competitions in 1 year. That's mad. Has that ever happened before? I don't think I've ever remembered that happening before. I literally just clocked that now. So these players are going to play in AFCON and then play World Cup. That's crazy. For African play, imagine if it was an African club and they won the African Nations and the World Cup in the same year. That's mental. That's actually mental. But yeah, that's like having a Euros and a World Cup in the same year. That's crazy. But yeah, I do think there's going to be a lot of movement because World Cup, big factor. A lot of players are gonna want to make sure that they're getting into the squads, give themselves that chance. It's gonna, for some players, this is their one and only opportunity to get that chance into to get that one selection into that World Cup squad. So I do think there's going to be a lot of movement in the January transfer window, just because them two elements there, most importantly, how tight the league is, and World Cup. But yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure. I've been yapping to you guys for 35 minutes. Thanks for you guys locking in. Like I said, don't forget to follow us on the social medias. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. It's been a pleasure having you guys. Yes, tomorrow morning I'm going to do a show, the Journey Show. Sorry, this week was a bit of a mad week. You know, I do uni. I don't know if I told you guys, I go to uni, I study business. So I was focusing on assignments, and then I had an incident with my car that I had to sort out this and that. I don't want to give you the whole 9 yards, but yes, we're back here, more consistent. I've got even loads of equipment that I need to set up and do this and that. So in the new year, we're going to be looking bigger and better. A load of new content coming for you guys, so make sure you locked in. You got that bell locked in, yeah? We got some really good stuff. We got kick up challenge. We got, I've got so many lists, but you're going to see, guys. New Year 2026. I hope you guys have a good holidays. I hope you guys are ready for the new year. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the morning. Make sure you locked in my journey. I'll be giving you guys all the tips from grassroots to pro. Let's go, buddy.